Well, it's been so long, I'm not sure what to even say. The Buffaloes victorious as they snap their 5-game losing streak 34-14 as the Buffs, under interim head coach Brian Cabral, knock off Iowa State here at Folsom Field. Hi, everybody. Mark Johnson along with Larry Zimmer. Welcome to our Buffs recap here on 850KOA.com. Zim, there's so many things to talk about in this one, but when you consider the week that was with the dismissal of a coach and all the controversy following the collapse of Kansas last week, to come out here and get a victory today, I think says a lot about this team.
Well, it really does, and I know before the game we were all speculating, well, how are they going to react? I suspected they would react very positively,
sure,
and they certainly did. They dominated this football game against a good old Iowa State, a good Iowa State team. It's not like the old Iowa State. No. This team's pretty good. They're physical. They've got a good quarterback, a good running back. Colorado dominated them. Their defense was absolutely relentless. They had 8 sacks. They limited them to 53 yards gain, a net of -6 on
rushing,
the ground.
Yeah,
rushing,
right.
yeah. And, when a defense does that, it's great. And, of course, the offense, first drive, they hit Cody hit Richardson with a 55-yarder, and that sort of set the tone for the game, I thought.
All the questions about how this team may react, I think it's only logical then to wonder how Cody Hawkins would react. Right. He said on the press conference on Tuesday, for the first time, I'm not the coach's kid as a quarterback. I'm just a quarterback. He went out and played very well.
He did, and I think that has an effect on the team, too. Mm-hmm. They saw and watched what Cody did, how he reacted. It was his father that was fired. And I think they rallied behind Cody today, and Cody had a superb game.
Yep, they rallied behind Cody Hawkins. They rallied behind Brian Cabral. And now you start to wonder. We knew going into this ball game they had to win 3 games to become bowl eligible. It seemed like a steep hill to climb. It still is. They've got Kansas State here next week, and then it's on the road day after Thanksgiving against a top 10 team in Nebraska. But why not? If they come out and play this way, and it seemed to be a loose football team, why not?
Well, I agree. Why not? I think it can definitely happen. I would hope that more people will be here next week to support them against Kansas State. And, they always play well in Lincoln, I've got to tell you. And if they go in there loose, I don't know what Nebraska's going to be playing for at the time, probably playing for the Northern Division Championship.
Yep.
So Missouri won again, so Missouri's right on their tail. I tell you what, I'm going to be there.
Oh, yeah, we both will. We'll make sure they're there, in fact, the day after Thanksgiving.
I want to watch it.
One other point in this ball game. Roddy Stewart runs for over 100 yards. 5th time he's done that this season.
Second week in a row.
Well on his way to 1,000 yards in the season. We mentioned Cody Hawkins played very well on offense. Paul Richardson is becoming a bona fide star at this level of football, BCS level of football. Again, over 100 yards, a couple of monster plays.
Yep.
He's a guy that, moving into the Pac-12, watch out teams on the West Coast. He's for real.
You betcha. And, Cody made a great point. I mentioned him, and he said, you got to remember, he only got here about 2 days before practice started in August. Right. He didn't go through all the off-season stuff that they did together and all of that. So that speaks even more for the kind of player that he is. And Cody said, my regret is I'm not going to be around to throw him the ball anymore.
He is turning out to be a very good wide receiver for the Buffaloes. Before we wrap this up here, the place that Brian Cabral has in the hearts of Buff Nation. 22-year-long assistant coach, started under Bill McCartney, has been here for the championships, the highs and the lows through, 4 coaching staffs he's now coached on. How do you feel for him today as he takes his team out there as the interim head coach and gets a win?
Well, I'm just so happy for Brian. And, as Brian told you when he came out to do the post-game show, he said, how about those Buffaloes?
How about those Buffaloes?
That's what he thinks about first and foremost. Mm-hmm. It's not about Brian Cabral. It's about the Buffaloes. And I'm just happy as I can be for Brian and for this whole team.
So step number 1 after a very tumultuous week taken by the Buffaloes as they knock off Iowa State. Next week, it's Kansas State and Bill Snyder coming into Folsom Field. That's a 12-10 game. We'll hit the air at 10:05 on our flagship 850 KOA with Buffalo Stampede, the network affiliates in at 10:35. And again, the kickoff between the Buffs and the Wildcats at just after high noon as Colorado looks to take another step to try and become bowl eligible in what's been certainly a topsy-turvy season here in Boulder, Colorado. How about those Buffaloes, though? They win it 34-14 as they knock off Iowa State and get their first conference victory of 2010. For Larry Zimmer, I'm Mark Johnson. Thanks for joining us on our Buffs recap here on 850KOA.com.